Hello, and welcome to another Monday art video. And this is going to be another quick swatching session and something very unusual for me, and that is metallic acrylic markers. Now, Lightwish kindly sent me 2 boxes of markers to review for them, and the last one I'll pop up the link here right now. You can see that if you would like to. That was a swatch and a sketch. This one is going to be a swatch plus something a little bit different in that I'm already working on the thing I'm going to swatch. That will all become very clear soon. Before I get started, as usual, if you like the content, leave me a like and leave me a comment. It really helps my channel grow, and it also helps me to realize what exactly you like to see, because I'm only hosting this channel, but it's actually for everybody, and I want you to all enjoy it. So let me know what you like, and yeah, we can certainly work on things. Right, so back to it. I got 2 boxes of acrylic markers, and the second box, when I saw the second one, I thought, oh my goodness, they've sent me a box of chocolates. How nice, because it looks very chocolate boxy. It is, however, a very nice box of metallic markers. Now, I don't use a lot of metallic things in my work, however, because I mean, as you will probably know from some of my other videos if you've explored them, I like to do a lot of quite moody, dark, natural scenes, landscapes, nature, birds. Birds are a big thing. So metallic is not something, it's not necessarily my go-to. However, it has to be said that there is a place for it in nature. I mean, some birds have iridescence on their feathers. Fish can be iridescent and probably should be. That's not to say I do realistic stuff. I don't. And you'll see what I do in a minute, because I'm going to finish one of my collage birds with these markers and show you how I might use a metallic marker. So let's just get them out. Now, I have undone and started some of them just so that you don't have to sit and watch me do that for a couple of hours, but I've left one of them to show what exactly you're getting. I guess right off the start, I feel obliged to say this: each marker is individually plastic wrapped, and I'm assuming that that's something about leakage during transport or something like that. I wish we didn't have to do this if it is, and if it isn't, if it's just because they're plastic wrapped, then I wish we didn't do it at all. But I get the point. You don't want one leaking and ruining all the others. However, it's a real pity, because there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in this set, and that's 12 pieces of plastic. So I wish that wasn't necessary. So getting them out is easy enough, of course, and yeah, we've got that. They are beautiful colours. You know, if you were to open a jewellery box and see these colours, it would be really fabulous. And they're all 0.7 millimetre, which means they're quite fine. I like that too. They're a bullet tip. And as usual, let me see how I'm going to do this. That should work. As usual, you give them a shake. You can hear the mixing bowl in there, and that is to mix the mica pigments that make it metallic in with the other binders and substrates so that it flows. So when it does that, you just pump it a few times until you see the paint flowing. The good thing about these that you don't get with brush markers, let's just grab one of the brush markers, and this is not against the brush markers, it's just a different delivery system. With the brush markers, you don't pump and prime them like this, and there's no mixing bowl, so you don't shake them. The ink is just there. With these, of course, as with most metallic markers, you've got to get the ink to where it needs to be. So once that happens and it starts flowing, we're good to go. And as you can see, it's a beautiful rich blue and plenty of pigment. I really like them, and actually I like them so much that I think I'm going to change some of the habits of a lifetime and find more ways that I can use them in my work, because I really do appreciate what you can do with them. And I'll show you one trick too when we're part way through. I'll just grab some pencils, coloured pencils, because I do have a trick, but I'll pop them there so I don't forget to show you. If these get clogged, you can quite often pull these little nibs out and give it a wash, and dry it and put it back in, and they should go again. If they still give you trouble, what you can do is put them up on their end like that, turn the cap upside down, and just give them a couple of pumps like that. In fact, it's a good idea to do that when you're starting, because it gets rid of any air that might be in this part of the barrel, which can either cause blobs to happen or no paint flow, and then a lot of paint flow or no paint flow, and it's game over, and you think, well, this was not a good buy. So you can actually solve some of the problems like that. And those are the go-to things that you would do rather than saying it's not working. You obviously don't do it with your finger because it hurts. These are hard plastic, these little nibs, and it hurts. So while we're here, there is the blue. Really lovely flow and good for writing as well. So then we've got an orange. Again, the mixing ball there, that's going to happen for all of them. And it's such a nice rich colour. The coverage is not brilliant, as in, not their fault, mine. These are not designed to cover big areas of your books. For example, let me grab another one of these. With the other type, they've got the brush tip marker. You can fill in large areas. These are not designed for this. So when I say not good coverage, I don't mean that the ink is lacking in any way or the pigment isn't there. It isn't. It's beautiful pigment and really very metallic. But because of the very, very fine tip, it simply isn't designed to fill huge areas of colour. So you're going to get this scratching. That's not the fault of the marker. That's my fault for deciding to swatch them like this. I wonder, I'm just going to grab the whole lot and give them all a shake, because then they'll all be primed and ready to go. Quite loud. Right, moving on to gold. There again, really nice colours, and purple. Stunning. So if you are a person who uses a lot of things like this and has a great need for metallic markers, this Lightwish set is a really quite a good choice actually. And I've got a discount code from the Lightwish people, which is awfully nice of them, and I've put that in the description box. I'm just trying to get that to go a little bit. I'm at the back of my Stillman & Burns sketchbook. It doesn't want to sit nicely. And for some reason, known only to myself, I'm right-handed, but for some reason I'll start things on the right and work to the left, which is really, really not very intelligent. I'm sorry, it's Monday. This one needs a little bit of help. Sometimes they stop working. You need to get them going again. Yeah, not at all being happy about having to colour such a large area. It's not what they're designed to do. They're designed for outlining, and they're designed for writing and things like that. This copper one's nice too. I see a use for those. The pink one. When I first saw these, I thought, okay, because I'm not into bright colours like this. However, nature is. And if you do paint things in nature and sketch things like flowers and, like I said, birds and butterflies is another place you could use these. The first thing I thought of was birds, because I do a lot of birds. But it's a nice green. Slightly different to the barrel, actually. Most of them are quite true to the barrel, but maybe a little bit different, but not so that people would point and say things on the street. That one's probably a little bit more orangey than red. Okay, so that is the colour range. Really, really quite nice colour range and well-chosen colours. I like that. And if you're doing things like cartoons or outlines of stuff and things like that, that's fabulous. But I had to work out how I could use these because, like I said, my work is actually quite muted. Now, before we go on, there is something you can do with these. Sometimes if they are too bright and shiny and you want to knock them back, you can knock them back with coloured pencils. Let me just sharpen that and show you what I mean. So, for example, on the blue, you can go over the top and sort of glaze. And I'll hold that up to the camera. The coloured pencil is grabbing the spaces in between the marker where you can see bits and pieces of white paper, because that's sort of what it's onto. But it's also sort of antiquing the blue, if you can see that there. So you can do that on any colour. And this one is just Mars Violet, Derwent Light Fast. I've just grabbed it random. Any of these muted earth tones, so that pushes it right back. And I'm using the nib on the pencil tip, not nib, pencil tip on the side. So you get sort of a burnishing effect. Silver works too. And what this does is, if you use it in your work and you think, my goodness me, that's bright, be aware that you don't have to sort of say, well, you know, that's that in the bin then. You can actually knock the colour, push that brightness back a little bit, but keep the metallic sheen, and it mutes it a little bit, which is also helpful if you want to have a highlight colour. See, for example, I tell my students that when they buy colours, that it's a really good idea to have a dark value, a medium value and a light value of each colour. Don't have to have every colour, but the ones you do, try to get 3 colour values, because you get a better 3D effect with the 3 colours. With these, you've only got 1 colour of each. So supposing you've wanted a pink, there's only 1 colour pink, but you can create 3 by using colour pencils to burnish over the top and to blend them in a little bit more. So let me show you some of that and how I would use these in my work. What I'm working on at the moment is a little hummingbird. I'm going to actually, he's going to go there somewhere in the picture, and I'm going to put another hummingbird here, I think, and probably some more foliage and things like that around it. But the things with hummingbirds is hummingbirds are iridescent, and they've got this iridescence that's amazing. You'll get exactly the same effect with ducks' heads and things like that. But like I said, butterflies, moths, anything that's got iridescence on it, you can use these sort of markers. So where I might use it is down the back here on his head. I think I would use this one. And again, for starters, use it making little iridescent feathers. Now, when you first do this, you've got all these little points of colour. Blend it a bit with your finger as well. Fingers are fabulous for this sort of thing. You're going to get dirty, but then that's kind of part of it. So making little feathers. Go down here as well. Don't make a clean line. There are no straight lines in nature, so we don't want to even go there. Onto his back a little bit, like so. Sometimes there's a little bit on the feathers here too, on the wing. And again, little strokes, and then blend it by dabbing it. It dries super quick, so you don't have a lot of open time, but that's fine. Speaking of open time, which brings me to the point of open stock, these aren't available as far as I can see at this point as open stock. You get the set, and that's how it is, but it's still really, really quite nice to have. Now with this, I might just get off the picture because I'm more than capable of hitting something that shouldn't be hit. So I'm just going to blend some of that by putting some more on and blend it with my finger, which means you get the mica effect, but not quite as strong. The second colour I think I would use is the green, to come down here. And again, blend some up into there and blend it a bit with the finger, because you don't have to use them as markers. You can blend these. There's literally no one policing this. The idea is you want to get an iridescent bird, and if not realistic, I'm not going for realistic, I'm going for believable, which is quite important. Some down here as well, because there are a few feathers there too. The idea is these are not supposed to be the main event. These are supposed to be the jewellery that you put on, the icing on the cake. So when you've got that, I'm sorry, his beak is stuck inside this flower because I ran out of card. So the beak only goes to there, whereas on a hummingbird, realistically, it'd go right into the flower. So I thought, well, I shall suspend belief and just use the piece of card that I had. So I want a little bit more down here of the blue onto the tail. So just touching, like I said, it's makeup, that's all. So use it sparingly and blend. So any one of those analogies, whichever one you find the most suitable, makeup, icing on the cake, whatever, or jewellery, you do you, whatever suits. Around here. So we do that, and then we examine what we've got and where the highlight should be most. For example, as it dries here, it's going to be anywhere on a curved part of the bird, you're going to get a little bit of highlight. Also, coming out here will be shinier than along the back and along here. So when I say shinier, I mean more iridescent. It's a Monday. I'm grabbing my Derwent Light Fast Forest, and I'm going to go along, and this is what I was showing you before with knocking back the colour. I'm going to go along right on the edge and just shade it a little bit, coming down here a bit. To make it a bit blended. I don't want that bit there at all, really. And under here, you've got the shade of a wing, a shadow of a wing here. So I would blend that bit in too. Doesn't need to be very much. And the result is, especially when you put it on under darker background, because you can't really see on here, it's just not saturated enough. When you put this, and that fits there, so he would go there. So when I glue that collage element in, you will have the addition of a realistic shine. So that's how I would use an iridescent marker. In fact, let us put the collage piece in, because that will make it nice, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm just using some white glue here. Just glue all that in. And like I said, I'm going to do the other one soon. You'll be able to see that on my Instagram feed, actually, and you'll find all of those links in the description box below. So I'll just pop some glue. I use Eileen's tacky glue, original tacky glue for my collage work. I really quite like it. Mind you, I could have found a slightly smaller bottle. It's ridiculous. Just smooth that a bit. And that would go there. So he's hovering there. Let's glue that down, because then I don't have to worry about him falling off and losing the last shred of his dignity by ending up on the floor. Right, so now I can move this around. You can see that sheen. It works brilliantly. I like these markers very much indeed, and would recommend them. I think they're nice. They're nice to use. The colours are nice too. They're not too bright. I mean, they are bright, and of course the mica in them makes them bright, but they're not ridiculously bright so that in a moody sort of setting like this, you couldn't actually use them. Yeah, so I might actually, the next thing I'm going to do, I think, is a fish. I quite feel like doing a fish, and these would be very nice for that. So I think that they're worth the spend, and in that vein, like I said, I have a discount code in the description box for you, just in case you agree with that. If you're looking for metallic markers, you know, they're really, really nice, well pigmented, easy to use, and I really like the super fine nibs, even though, like I said, I don't want to cover big areas with them because that's not my style. I want to use them for detail, so that tiny nib is just perfect as far as I'm concerned for the sort of work that I do. Yeah. So don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and if you like the style of my artwork here, have a look at my other videos and so forth. And if you like this style, please do consider joining my Patreon, where I explain how I got to this point with the bird, because it's very much finished. So I do have some collage videos on my Patreon, plus a lot of basic just sketching and artwork anything mixed media. I'm a mixed media artist, and you'll find it all on there. So I would love to see you over there. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and I shall catch you next week with, I think, another favourite 5. It's time we did another one of those. So yeah, have a look around, make yourself at home, and I'll see you then. Bye.